I don't even want to do this video, to be totally honest. And look, I'm trying very hard not to overreact, but let's call a spade a spade. That is an absolutely atrocious result from Sunderland's point of view. And I'm not going to discredit Plymouth, because I thought Plymouth in patches looked half okay. And actually, I didn't think they looked particularly good, but I thought for probably the standards they're used to, they caused us a couple of problems second half. Even before we went 2-1 up, Trey Hume had lost out in a race quite poorly against, was it Ryan Hardy, I think? And if it wasn't for Pato saving an effort onto the post, we go 2-1 down there, and then minutes later we score, which should have been the match winner. Look, let's call a spade here. That was not good enough today. And I think from Plymouth's point of view, that's a really, well, I mean, I don't know whether it'll do much in their fight to stay up, but fair play to them. That's a great point for them. Would have been nice if we bothered to do that against Burnley, but there you go. I did say before the game, I said you don't deserve top two if you can't beat Plymouth at home. And look, it's a top two race. Whatever anyone's going to try and tell me in the comments isn't over mathematically, but it's a big, big blow that. Of course, when we're having an opportunity to take fully advantage of last night, of course we don't do it. But to be honest, I felt, maybe I'm being harsh. And by the way, I'm someone who doesn't mind Pato and actually quite likes him. But I felt Pato let himself down massively for the second goal when he looks like he's going to come out and then stops and then stays in the middle between where the action of play is and his goal line. And I need to look at it back, obviously. That's just based on seeing it once. But I thought he did poor there. But I also thought the defending was shocking as well. And for me, I'm getting quite tired of that. Something that there was someone, I'm in a group chat on Twitter actually, and someone made the point that the main thing was that our inability to score goals. And I do understand what he was saying. But at the end of the day, we've scored 2 goals today. You can't be conceding 2 goals at home at the bottom of the league. That's just not good enough. Even the first goal, as much as it obviously definitely went in from what I can remember seeing, like it came from Salis Abdul Samed messing around with it basically. He messed around with it within our own half, got dispossessed, then I think the ball went down the right. The cross comes in, and fair play to Plymouth. They played the advantage well. They took advantage of the fact we gave the ball away, but some of our play today was so sloppy. And even something else that was frustrating me as well was the fact that we were trying to be fancy in the 88th minute of the game when you're 2-1 up in a massive moment when you should really be taking advantage of that and you should be closing the gap to Sheffield United. And I don't want to hear this, the team's young. Right, I'm not being funny. Sirkin, Hume have had more than enough appearances now. Ballard is not seasoned veteran, obviously, but Ballard's had more than enough appearances at this level. Chris Meffam has got the quality. O'Nine's an experienced player at this point. Like, come on, I'm getting quite tired of hearing that now. We can't just keep using their young factor as a excuse to not know how to manage a game. And we have known how to manage games like, say, Derby away, Pompey at home, even when we haven't been that great. Sheffield United at home, we managed the game really well. Burnley at home this season, we have proven that we can manage these games. So to me today, that was really poor. But I think Labrise has got to take some criticism here because, and by the way, I'm not going to advocate anything about Labrise going, because that'd be, anyone saying that for me, I think that would be absolute lunacy at this point. But it also doesn't mean you can't criticise him. And for me today, taking Isidore, and I think Yelder, for example, I think a lot of people have written Yelder off. But for me, it's not even his fault. It was the fact we took Isidore off, which meant you took off your focal point in order to try and relieve the pressure. Now, unless Isidore was injured, if he was injured or was desperate to come off, then I can maybe get it then. So I'm saying, so if that happens, then that comment's null and void. But taking Isidore off, even at the time I said, that's quite negative that. You're inviting the worst team in the league to score, statistically on paper, the worst team in the league to score. But fair play to Plymouth, they're not going to care about that. And I'm raging, I'm not going to lie. But I'm trying very hard to be somewhat sensible and not just completely lose my head and say that the league's done, because it's not. But maybe the one thing that it might actually help is maybe it'll hopefully speed things up a little bit in terms of the recruitment in the next 9 days. The problem you've now got is, yes, you've got Burnley and Leeds playing each other, and yes, we have gained a point on Sheffield United, which is one small comfort, but again, that's not good enough. No. And I don't get us wrong, I'd like to think I'm trying very hard not to overreact. I'm absolutely trying very hard to remain level-headed. But I just can't dress that result up. That result, from our point of view, that is really poor. But as I've said before, you don't have a God-given right to win these games. I don't know whether we were complacent and thought, it's Plymouth, we'll stroll them over. Well, we should have learnt this lesson by now, that is not how the Championship works. So we'll wait and see. The problem you've now got is you don't play until a week on Monday, by which point Leeds, Burnley and Sheffield United will all have played an extra game. And by that point, we could be 6 points off second, or even 7 points off second, because we didn't hold on today or didn't beat Plymouth today. But look, I am fuming. I'm absolutely furious at that result, I'm not going to lie. But again, I'm hopefully trying very hard amidst this incoherent waffle to try and be somewhat level-headed. Look, let's see what happens in the window. In the end of the day, we're in a position where a lot of people would have taken it at the start of the season, but I'm not going to lie, it is very, very, very infuriating that we've drawn that today instead of winning it. But you know what? That's the championship. You don't have a God-given right. Anyway, safe trip back to all the Plymouth fans. They're not going to care what I think, and that's fair enough, but I don't really care if they think that. I don't really care for what Plymouth fans think. For me, I'm a Sunderland fan, and for me, that result wasn't acceptable. It wasn't good enough. But yeah, Boro next day, that's going to be fun. If you guys are watching, you think I've earned a sub from you, and you're watching, then hit the sub button, like, share the video around, and all that jazz. I just want to finish this video. I didn't really want to do one, but I can't not do one when I'm fuming about a result because I would have to be consistent. But anyway, take care, you guys, and see us all next time against Boro. Yay.